Hey, well, welcome to the Afterburn podcast. This is episode 3, and I had the privilege of talking to Alina. She has a channel on YouTube called Ride with Alina. I really appreciate the way she coaches, the way she motivates, how inspiring she is. And she talks all about how she started, what drives her. She shares some amazing stories about inspirational people who have really helped her along the way. And this is a podcast that you do not want to miss. This is the Afterburn podcast. Hey, well, welcome to the Afterburn podcast. My name is Joe Alvarado, and on this podcast, I'm so honored to have Ride with Alina on the channel. She's amazing. I discovered her because I record classes online, and YouTube spits out like other people that do that as well. And Alina, I found you, I think maybe a year ago, something like that, maybe longer, with maybe, I don't know, somewhere in there. But I always, one of the things that attracted me to your channel was the way that you coach. Like, you have just this straightforward style. And before we get too far, would you just introduce yourself? Ride with Alina. I love your channel.
For sure. Thank you so much, Joe, for having me on today. It's an honor for me, honestly. This is my first podcast. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited to be here today. So I basically am Ride with Alina, I guess. And same goes for me. I found your channel about a year ago, and I've done some of your spin classes as well. It's always good to try different classes, other instructors.
Thank you.
And I guess over the pandemic, I became a cycling instructor. I decided to do an online course, and from there I just started teaching online because that was the only kind of platform available. I couldn't do anything in person, and I was just eager to get going. So I just literally took my phone and recorded my first class, did some basic editing, and kept going from there.
Wow. So you literally started probably, we're 2024 now, just about 4 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, it was like March 2021, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was 20 years old.
That's amazing. And so just so I get this right, because I'm pretty blown away now. You know, obviously during the pandemic, we couldn't do a whole lot. You found indoor cycling. I can do that. There was a certification available, and you had never done it before that.
Well, I grew up doing spin classes just
Okay.
at like a local gym. So
Okay.
my mom brought me to my first spin class when I was 12. I tell the story a lot on my channel, and I didn't like it. It was difficult. It was hard to get on the beat, stuff like that. But I kept going back for some reason because, you fall in love with the energy, the music, all of that kind of stuff. And now I'm an instructor.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
So you had a little bit of experience, and you said, "Hey, I'm just going to do this online," and you used your phone. That's amazing. Like, it's not easy, as you know. Like, not only with the music and people hearing you, and kind of the balance of audio, right? Like, is the music sound good? Does my voice sound good? Am I framed in the shot? You're doing your own production, I'm assuming,
Oh, yeah.
and yeah, and now you're rocking it. Like, so at what point, and we'll talk a lot, we'll kind of jump around here, but since we're on here, at what point in your recording of YouTube cycling classes did you decide, I want to keep going? Because there's a lot of people that just did it during the pandemic because there was nothing else to do, or their gym was closed, and as soon as their gym opened, they're like, I'm done with this. Like, at what point did you say, I feel like I want to continue to build this channel?
For me, I feel like it was for a few different reasons. So initially, I wasn't gaining a ton of traction, to be honest. It took a while for me to even get my first 100 subscribers. So that was a little bit disheartening at first, but there was a few people that would keep coming back, putting their comments in, and that would be nice. It was like, okay, I'm making a little community here. So that really drove me to keep on going. And I also really love the editing aspect of it. It's a lot of fun to kind of put my own like personal touches in there, and I don't know, I just enjoy it. And then from a more instructor standpoint, of course, it's like fun to find new songs and that kind of thing. So that kind of kept me going. And I would say a big component as to why I continued is my mom. She does all my classes. I'd say she's probably my biggest supporter, and she's always looking forward to the next one and the next one, and so I kept going.
Shout out to your mom. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I love it because to your point, I think all of us, anybody who teaches group fitness in general, you get connected to the community. Like you start to, whether it's virtual and you're seeing comments, or whether it's in person because you teach in person as well, and you could share a little bit about that here in a moment. But you start building a family, a community, and you get
Mhm.
to know their names, and they come back, right? And then you share stories when you're recording, and then they mention, oh, I could identify with what you were sharing, during the ride, and that's like a huge component because, correct me if I'm wrong, like I have worked at some facilities teaching group fitness, and it wasn't a great environment. The manager wasn't great, the sound system wasn't great, but you keep going back because of the people, right? And so that's a huge component. Like, what do you think about that? Like, is that, I mean, obviously that's one of the reasons why you come back, but have you ever had one of those experiences where like it wasn't great, but you just kept doing it because of the people?
I 100% agree on the community aspect. You really do build your own little community of people. You feel like you belong there. And as for the negative experience, I've had one opportunity where it wasn't the greatest setup, like not great communication between kind of everyone involved, the manager, me, things like that. But of course, like once you commit to a class, that's your class. So you have to keep on going back. And of course the members do make it what it is. For me at least. Like I know the members would probably say the instructor makes it what it is, but for me it's the people, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
yeah, the people
Well,
who
like even if you don't feel like teaching a class, uh, and this could go for virtual and or in person, once you see people come in, or you see the comments, or you see people coming into wherever it is that you might be teaching in person, then it just changes your whole mindset, right?
oh
Like
yeah.
you might be having a bad day, and then you walk up the stairs, you open the door, and you're kind of not into it. Then all of a sudden John comes and Betty comes or whoever, and you're just like,
Yeah.
hey, and then all of a sudden it's game on, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's always like it just takes me into the warm up and I'm just ready to go.
Yeah.
If I'm
I,
having a bad day.
I don't think there's a group exercise instructor that would disagree with anything that we're talking about right now, because we love people, we love helping them, we love the results that happen. Now I want to go back real quick to
Mhm.
something you said. You said that you like the editing aspect, and I love the editing aspect. I know that it could be time consuming with the online space, and in particular YouTube. Can you walk me through? You started on a phone to what it evolved to today. Like
Yeah.
what does it look like today? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So initially I started on just my iPhone. Just I propped it up. I don't even know if I had a tripod back then. I might have just been balancing it on like a tower of like I don't even know what would have been on their books or something. So from there, I now have a tripod, of course, a multiple tripods. I upgraded to like a better camera. And then as time went on as well, I invested in better editing software compared to before. I was just using iMovie, which was just kind of came with my laptop.
Yeah.
So now I'm using Final Cut Pro, and
Nice.
just allows for everything to just go a little bit more seamlessly. There's more
Yeah.
things you can pop in there. And other than that, like now my little studio area is right by a window. So I
Okay.
still do use natural lighting, and I try to film in the mornings on a sunny day.
Yeah.
The view is nice, and I'm still growing. I'm still, I still have a bunch of things on my list I want to get,
Yeah.
like nice lighting. I need a mic. I definitely need a mic
Okay.
at this point. I did have a mic last year that I bought, relatively inexpensive, but it stopped working. So gotta invest
Gotcha.
in a new mic.
Oh, we could definitely talk a little bit more about that offline because
Oh
I,
yeah,
I
I'll need
I get
your
into the gear
advice.
and stuff. Yeah, I
Mhm.
love that, and just to know that you taught. Did you know Final Cut or did you have to learn that?
I learned it, which was a big learning curve, I would
Yeah.
say, for my movie. Although they're both made by Apple, they're very different. They're vastly different.
Yes.
So there's a little bit of a delay in posting some of my classes,
Sure.
but then I caught up to speed.
So if your audience is listening, just be patient because they're going to be better, right? There's a
Yeah.
little delay. Now, it's if you're in case you don't know what we're talking about, there's editing software out there, and if you're listening to this podcast, like Final Cut Pro by Adobe, there is DaVinci Resolve. There are these different editing software that we have to learn, and one of the things that I don't know that everybody, and maybe you could speak a little bit more to this, that most people may or may not know. But when you're on the online space, you're not just the talent, right? You're not just the personality, but you're also the editor. You're also the engineer. You're also the person who does all the artwork and marketing and posting, and you kind of do everything. Like you have to wear multiple hats in order to be on the online space, at least till you get to a certain place where you can get help and whatnot. Like, how has that been for you? Like, you learned Adobe Final Cut, rather. Like, what about all the other aspects of the hats that have to be worn?
Yeah, so as of now, it's a one-woman show. It's just me doing everything from creating the playlist, choreography, to filming, to editing and posting, all that kind of stuff. But maybe one day I'll have someone to help.
Me too. I'm still waiting for that day for sure.
Yeah, but right now I really enjoy doing it all. It really feels really authentic, and it's a projection of who I am, basically. It's like something I can really be proud of because I literally, from start to finish, it's all been me. And then, of course, with member feedback, I always try to make adjustments, things like that, like small things like font sizes and just to make it more accessible.
Yeah.
But overall, it is like a process. I would say if I did have help, I'd be pumping out more classes sooner because it doesn't take too long to create and film a class.
Yeah.
It's the editing that takes the
Yes.
hours.
No, without question, because I'm guessing that you just basically hit the record button because you've been doing it, you have experience, you could just go right through it, right, and record. But
Mhm.
it's then taking all of that footage, right, and making
Yeah.
that work. If you For people who follow you, what would you say is the average time it takes for you to build a class from I have the music, to putting it together, what you want to do with the music, with the ride, to recording, to editing, to finally uploading it to YouTube?
Okay, let's do a little math here. So if the pre-planning probably takes me about, let's say, an hour to make a 30-minute class, just to like choose the music, listen to the music,
Mhm.
kind of start to think about, this is going to be a climbing track, that's going to be for sprints, and then going through and actually choreographing it. I'll usually listen to the songs and then write down my choreography. So let's say an hour and a half.
Okay.
And then I used to go and also practice the ride. These days I kind of just film it.
Go for it, right?
Yeah, yeah. So filming, with the setup, and then taking the picture for the thumbnail, things like that. I'd probably give it about, if it's a 30-minute ride, let's say 45 minutes. So maybe we're at about 2 hours and 15 minutes. And then after then, uploading it to my computer and all the editing. Let's see. I don't know. Editing takes a while. Definitely like at least 5 hours. I do tend to spread it out. over a
Okay.
few days. There's been a few days where I'm just like, I want to just get this done, and then I just spend my whole day on my laptop. But let's say about 5 hours. So in total,
Wow.
maybe like 7 to 10 hours.
7 to 10 hours. So if you're riding with Alina, like you've got to appreciate the work that she puts in. I mean, that's a lot. And I get it. I get it because, again, we want to pick the music that is moving us so we can move you, right? I mean, it has to be music that we like.
Oh
Uh
yeah.
it yeah, and it has to be, a certain feel because I don't know about you, but every now and then somebody might recommend a song or they might say, "Hey, can you do this? Can you do that?" And I listen to it, I'm like, no, I can't, I can't do that. That does nothing for me. And I don't say it that way, but a lot of times, especially in person, because I teach over at Lifetime, and somebody might send me a song or say, "Hey, can you do this?" And I'm just like, "Oh, that's so hard." Like I know I want to reach more people with different genres, but like
Mhm.
that one just isn't. I'm not feeling that one at all. I don't know what to do with it. But it starts there, right? Then you program it, you record it, you edit it, you upload it, you take a photo shoot. Like there is a ton that goes involved. So like props to you for all the work that you're putting in. That's a
Thank
ton
you. I don't
self-taught.
know. You're doing it too. I love
Yeah, no,
doing it.
I totally get it. It's a process for sure.
Mhm.
Um, let's talk about some of the stories that you have had come up, and specifically, and I guess it doesn't have to be specifically online, but anytime. Even you teach at F45. Tell me a little bit about that, and then I'll ask you the next question. But you're a group
Yeah,
fitness instructor too.
yeah. So, I'll tell my little story about that. At about the same time I started doing spin classes, the gym I was going to also had group fitness classes, so I was doing those as well. It was just a thing my mom and I did together to spend time together. So we'd go to group fitness classes, we'd go to spin classes, and my first love was group fitness. So I became a group fitness instructor first at 18. And I taught group fitness. I still teach group fitness classes, but I taught them at a local gym nearby. And then when I went to university, I taught at that school gym, and I'll never forget those experiences. I also taught spin classes at that gym once the pandemic kind of settled down a bit
Okay.
in my last year. And I would say my most memorable experience was teaching at my university gym, specifically the spin classes, because a lot of the members, they were students as well. They had never done a spin class in their life. And I was their first impression of what spin class was. And I felt like I had a lot of responsibility to make it an inclusive environment, make it a
Yes.
positive experience, but also let them understand it's okay if you don't finish the whole thing. Stay
Yeah.
for the first 10 minutes, enjoy the music, come back next time, add another track, whatever it might be. So overall, that was probably the most rewarding for me in person because I was bringing people into our community, into our cycling community,
Love
and
it.
helping people get fit, introduce them to something new. That was probably my best experience. And then going back to your actual question,
Yeah. Well, and let me
um,
just say that I don't that's you just mentioned another layer, right? That we hadn't even talked about yet because we talked about putting the music together, designing what we want to do, recording, post editing, whatever. And the other layer that you just added is that we're actually trying to motivate. We're educating, right? We're educating on what it's like, and there's nothing like having somebody brand new like in your class. I love that. Um, you're educating, but at the same time, you're encouraging, you're motivating, you're using words that make people feel good and inclusive and all of the above. So there's so many layers to this, right? Yeah.
exactly. I remember teaching my last class there before I graduated. It was so bittersweet. Got all these little cards, and you just realize you do make a huge impact on people's lives. And as much as you appreciate them coming week to week, they also like really appreciate you, which is an amazing thing.
So amazing. Tell me
Mhm.
about F45 and some of the things that you do now.
Yeah, so right now I am doing my second degree. I'm in chiropractic college in my second year. And let's just say having time to work out and coach and all that kind of stuff is hard to come by these days. I love what I'm doing in school, don't get me wrong, but it takes up all of my time. So when I moved to this area nearby my school, first thing I did was look up all the gyms in the area where I could potentially apply to coach. And there's a nearby F45, so I applied there, and I coached there once a week, and it's been great so far. It's as a person with a lot of coaching experience, it's like I don't need to do a lot to prepare, so that's definitely an added benefit for me. I kind of just show up, take a look at the workout quickly, and then do what I love to do, which
Yeah.
is motivate people, energize people, correct people's form as well, and just share my energy with them. So it's been a great experience working there.
I
Kind of.
love that. Now, does like Lifetime, we have different small group training, that can be similar to like F45, and they give us like a whole, they give us the programming. So before we go, we know like what the workouts of the day is going to be and stuff like that. Is it similar for you at
Oh yeah,
F45?
yeah, very similar, almost identical. I would say there's an app, and then it shows you all the exercises, all the descriptions, what to explain for the format and all that. So it's really just given to you, and I
Yeah.
just have to deliver it.
Yeah, and that's where we get a shine, because we don't have to, in that context at least, we don't have to design anything. We don't have to think through a workout. We get to just be the encourager, motivator. And I think you said something about yell at people before we recorded.
Yes, I did say that. It's always fun to get up in there and motivate people. Occasionally, a little bit louder than my usual talking voice.
Oh yeah, we get a little passionate, right, about what we do.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So let me ask you this, and I know I'm kind of going back and forth in your journey. Um, to be any kind of instructor, we are essentially a public communicator, public speaker. Some would call us an entertainer, right? I would call us like all of the above, an
Mhm.
educator, entertainer, public speaker. Was that something that was hard for you to transition to, going to classes and then moving onto the stage and being on the other side of that? Or are you like one of those natural, the stage is mine. I got on the stage for the first time and it just felt good. Like, how was that for you? Because, and I'm asking you that because, uh, I, I'm, I know that there are instructors or potential aspiring instructors that listen to this,
Mhm.
and they might have like, I don't know what that's like. Like, tell me your experience with that.
So I was quite fortunate that the transition for me was pretty smooth, just because I was the gym that I started teaching at first. I had been going to that gym over the years. I knew a lot of the other members and instructors, and the instructors always encouraged me to go to a group fitness training or something of the sort.
Yeah.
So when I got up on the stage, it was really comfortable experience for me. I always had my mom like in the bottom left area, and I knew most of the people there. So for that regard, I felt comfortable. But once I started to teach at gyms where I didn't really know people, it was a little bit of a step. And from there, I would suggest just like remembering, you know what, I am the instructor here. Everyone's here for a good workout. Listen to your music before the class to like pump you up, that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. And it's okay to feel that way, to feel nervous. Everyone feels that. Even I feel that here and there sometimes before teaching a class in person. And I've taught hundreds of classes at this point.
Yes. Yeah. So that's awesome. That's awesome. And that's so encouraging, because I know that, again, there may be somebody listening to this, and they're aspiring to be an instructor. They're inspiring to do that. They may be super afraid of being in front of people, or they might be that just natural connector. And one of the things, and I'm curious for, is your thoughts on this. One of the things that I find that make a great group exercise instructor, and outside of the obvious, besides the obvious being that they love, you love fitness, you love the community, you love, that whole thing. But I think there are some people that have just kind of a magnetic personality. and they can talk to anybody. They have like this thing about them. And anytime, at least when I'm auditioning an instructor, or I spot somebody that is working out at the club or in one of our classes, I might approach somebody who has that just for that reason alone. Like, what do you think about that?
Mhm. I do agree that if you're a charismatic, outgoing person, and you're an instructor, it's a good asset to have. I agree. I don't think I'm always like that though. I do have to like tell myself to turn it on sometimes, especially if it's like a very long day. I'm tired. Certain days when I was still teaching in my hometown and I was at school all day and I had to take a super long bus ride home. And then I just made it in time for my class. And I was like, this is probably the last thing I want to do right now. But people have come to this class to get in a good workout, to fill up their cup. So sometimes as an instructor, you gotta fake it till you make it.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I would totally agree with that. And I'm glad that you're being real with it, because we can't always be on, right? We can't always be like
Mhm,
that person. And there are a lot of times where we have to just project the energy that we really don't have, or we're really not feeling, you know.
mhm.
And thanks for sharing that, because that's super, super helpful. Um, is there a story? Because I think we all have them. Is there a comment that you could remember on your class, maybe two? Is there a story that happened when where you taught in person, where you're like, you said you screenshot a few to share with us. So I'd love for you to do that right now, but that just made an impact on you, and you just said, "Oh man, like thank you," or it did something for you. What was that, and how? What did that look like for you?
Yeah. So with reference to teaching in person, I remember it was Valentine's Day, and we had these little Valentine's things that we could give people that were working at the gym. And I got a bunch of them, and they're the sweetest messages about how I've been making people's days better by coming to my class, and like that they really appreciate my energy and that kind of stuff. So that was really heartwarming. Um, and then in terms of on my channel, yeah, I have a few here that really just blew me away. And one in particular that really stood out to me. I've gotten a few like this now, but someone said, wow, what a great workout. I have ALS and I had to quit spin classes at my gym. You have boundless energy and it communicates through the screen. Spin really helps my breathing and strengthen my legs. So thank you so much, Alina. It's comments like that where
Wow.
I'm someone may be going through a really tough time, something they can't control, their body isn't responding as they want it to, and I'm helping them simply live a better life day to day, be able to complete their activities of daily living, like little things that us people that are so fortunate to be able to do all these crazy intense workouts and things like that don't think about time to time. There are so many people out there that um, they're going through it and they're having a tough time, and the fact that we can help them like so tremendously, like that comment, and I've had a few other ones, just they completely blow me away, and I'm like, you know what, that just made my whole year.
That's huge. Oh my
Mhm.
God. Like, to know that you're helping them stay mobile, you're helping them get stronger. ALS is something that is, I can't even imagine, what they're dealing with. And it sounds like that because of that, they in person wasn't an option anymore, and they had to like really start slow, and they found you, like, and they resonated with you. That's, man, it's good work. Good
And
work. That's
yeah, I never even thought in the back of my mind that I would be serving such a diverse population. I always just thought, okay, like people who watch my classes will probably be people who like to do their Saturday spin class, right?
yeah.
Really, by posting it online and making it accessible to people, um, some people who might not want to go in person and do a spin class, whether it's because a physical disability or mentally they're a little bit nervous. we provide them with the opportunity to stay fit, get fit, without as many barriers, which I've noticed over the past while in this journey.
That's so well said. That's so well. That's why there's always going to be a need for an Alina and a Joe and all the other instructors. And I don't know about you, but I've tried to do as much research as I can because again, I want to meet other fellow cycle instructors online. And it doesn't seem like there's a lot of us, right? I mean, I don't know if you've found a lot, but I could maybe found 15 channels, maybe 20, but have you done any research on that as far as like how many people you've actually other channels?
There's a few instructors I found, just a handful really. But yeah, it's definitely a space where there could be potential growth. And I think there's room for all of us here. Like it's definitely not a competition in my eyes. It's just a matter of the more the merrier. We're all here helping others, and I also feel like it's a good thing that you're creating classes, other creators are creating classes, because I understand not everyone resonates with my personality, my energy, and stuff like that. But I'm hoping that they could find someone that they kind of resonate with and will stick to.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I mean, and one of the things that's one of the things that I love about YouTube is not only that we have the world as an audience and a world that can potentially find us, but there needs to be a diverse offering of people. And if you're listening and you're considering becoming an instructor, there is room in this space. There's not a lot of us out there. And as far as we could tell, you're hearing it from Alina and Joe right now. There's not a lot of us out here. And it's kind of like going, it's going maybe, to a gym and you just find a certain instructor that you like. You find a certain show on Netflix that you like. There's always something about whatever it is that you gravitate to, whether it's the personality, it's the energy, it's the theme, it's the genre, whatever it is. And there's an audience for everybody, right? And so I love that you so well spoken. I love that. Can you share? Do you have any other comment stories that you could share with us?
Oh, I just thought of something as you were making that point. Maybe it'll come back to me later.
Okay, no problem. No problem. How do you and I want to land this here in a minute. The online space, we do this, the virtual space, if you will, and then the real space, as far as teaching in person. What would you say are the differences, like in how you approach? Because obviously there has to be energy in both. There has to be a delivery for both. There has to be, a certain, that needs to happen, or else you wouldn't be getting comments like that. What do you see as the differences, in your approach or your energy, or are they the same? Like, how do you see it?
I would say my energy is pretty much the same. If you were to come to one of my in-person classes, I would still be yelling at you just as much as I do online. But I actually might make it more personal, in a good way, of course. I find in person I can make more corrections to people. Say, for example, I see someone who's a little bit newer. They're not necessarily holding the handlebars in the most ergonomic position. I'm able to make those corrections. So that's a little bit difficult sometimes online.
Yeah.
So online, of course, you still give like general points as to how you should be riding, but in person, you can just make it a little bit more personal. What else? I mean, when I'm recording, it's just me
Yeah.
there. So.
Yeah. But here's what I think. And I was talking to my friend Rachel. She's going to be on the first episode, and I'm launching this whole thing soon. And maybe obviously if you're listening to this, it's already launched. But we were talking about kind of the differences, and I think you're exactly right. Like when you're in person, at least what I try to do is among we're doing a lot. We're the DJ, educator, motivator, music player, like all of the above, right? But there's two things that always come up when I'm teaching live, and that's what am I seeing? And to your point, do I see somebody that needs to be corrected? Then I could speak to that, right? And then how am I feeling? So I like to say, say what I see and communicate how I feel. So in other words, if there is something that needs to be corrected, or not even always corrected, but just praised, maybe, hey man, you're
Yeah.
crushing it over there in the corner, or whatever. But I also know if I'm starting to feel it, they have to be feeling it too. So it could be a thing where, hey, let's, sit up a little straight, relax those shoulders. And oh, right about now, sweat is starting to happen. And it's because you're feeling that, right? So you've got like the visual, here's what I'm seeing. So I'm going to say it, but I'm feeling this. And I know they have to feel it. So I'm going to say it too. And for
Mhm.
me, I think the difference between, and again, exactly what you're saying, the difference between the two would be, when I'm recording and I'm online, I'm only able to communicate what what I'm feeling, right? Like
Mhm.
if I'm feeling it, they've got to be feeling it, you know?
That's really funny that you said that, because I remember the first ride that I filmed for my channel,
Mhm.
um, all the little form corrections and stuff I was saying related to myself. I was like,
Yeah.
"Okay, guys, let's keep our chest up," because I realized I was looking down and little things like that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
no, that I think that's we have to do that, right? And there's definitely um an imagination aspect to it. There's definitely remember to look at the right camera, like, or the right direction aspect of it. I think we could all look back and say, oh, what was I looking at right there? Or what what did I even say? Right. What are some of your favorite cues? Like, what are your go-to? Let's say you're having an off day, you're not necessarily feeling it. Maybe you are just manufacturing some energy. What
Mhm.
are some repetitive cueing that you use that kind of help people each and every time, regardless of where you're at?
Yeah. So I usually provide like a baseline few cues every class, because I never know if someone's doing the ride for the first time, or doing a spin class for the first time.
Yeah.
So, for example, in a climb, I would say, all right, let's take our hands wide, shift the butt back, push through those heels. Generally, when I start my class, I always say, all right, let's brace through the core, shoulders back and down, that kind of thing. In
Yeah.
sprints, I always say, like, shift the hips forward, point the toes down, create small circles in the feet.
Yeah.
Those are my
I
go.
love that.
Those are my
One
go.
of the things that you just said that I think is spot on, and I want everybody to hear. I just want to point it out because it's so important. You said I say these things because I never know if somebody's taking a class for the first time,
Mhm.
right? And I'm telling you, like, here's why I'm so passionate about just that little phrase, or what that little thought, at least. Uh, it, Indoor cycling, group fitness in general, there's always kind of a revolving door, right? In other words, there's going to be people that, whether you teach in person or online, that come in for a season and then they're gone the next season. Uh, you teach at F45, there might be a family that moved in, and then they somebody changes jobs and they can't go to your class anymore, or they move, or just something happens, right?
Yeah.
And the reason why it's so important for people like you and me, and why I think it's so important what you just said, to always teach a class as if there was somebody new, is because there could be somebody new, right?
Mhm.
And in my in my opinion, and I think you agree, and you could elaborate on this, you're always going to have at least three different demographics. You're going to have that guest, that first time person, right? That you need to make sure they get it, they're having a good experience, they have permission to do, dial it back, whatever that might be. And then you have somebody who's returning. So you have a guest, you have a returner, somebody who maybe they got hurt, or they took the summer off, or they just know they got to get back into shape, whatever that might be, they're deconditioned. And then you have the seasoned person, the regular. So you have a guest, the regular, and the returner. And I think it's our job, and we would be more successful. I think every group fitness instructor would be more successful if they would incorporate those three things each and every time that they teach? Who's the new
I
person?
agree.
Who's the returning person? And who's the regular? What do you think?
I definitely agree with that. And just to add on to your point, sometimes people are not going to be comfortable to say it's their first time doing a spin class if you're in person. So just put those cues out there and give people permission to, stop the class halfway or whatever it might be. And some people might come and tell you at the end, hey, that was my first ride, by the way. I've had that a few times.
Isn't that the best feeling ever? It's like, and that's one of the things that's so rewarding as an instructor is that you, me, those of us who do this, we could have taught 1,000 classes already, and you go in to teach your 1,001 first class, right? And somebody new comes in, and it's like it all started all over again. It's like I get a chance to show this person for the very first time, like how amazing a cycling class can be. Like that's so rewarding. I love that. Is there anything else that you want us to know about Alina and your channel? Anything that some thoughts you would leave us with?
Great. For any members or riders kind of watching, don't be too hard on yourself. Life is busy. Life is a lot. And we're not always going to have time to do, that 45, 50-minute ride that, we always want to be consistent with. For me, for when being in school, sometimes my workouts are 20 minutes. Sometimes, I can't get to it that day. And it's totally fine as long as you are too hard on yourself and you just hop back on the next day. Just show yourself some grace, give yourself some grace, and do what you can.
I love that. I love that. I like to say, and I got this from a pastor online. He says, we're not trying, we're training. And what he meant by that, and I've used it even in my classes, and it's exactly what you're saying, just saying it another way. When you have the approach that, hey, I'm going to try a class, or I'm going to try to start doing this, that word try leaves the door open to that I failed. So, well, I tried, and, so I'm going to not anymore. But if you say I'm training, it gives you permission to say, I missed a day, but because I'm training, I can go back, and because I'm training, maybe today wasn't the strongest day, but I'm training. I'm not just trying this. I'm in training, and not in the terms of like I'm trying to get ready for something. And although a lot of people do, they get ready for ultra marathons and different types of races, Spartan races, things like that in our classes. But the idea is that training implies that I can come back. I'll have good days. I'll have bad days. But if I'm trying, like, I tried and, didn't work out, it kind of gives you a door to quit. Right. So trying, we're not trying, we're training is kind of what I've learned to try to encourage people with, at least. So,
I like that. I like that a lot. I also forgot to point out I got my bike right behind me.
Yeah. I love that. Love it. What bike is that? What brand?
Schwinn bike. I bought this one over the pandemic, and it's just I'm in my room right now, my student house, and I just got my bike back there. So
nice. Is that where you record, right in the same room that you're in right now?
No, I don't record here. I record back in my hometown at my parents' house.
Where's hometown at? Where's your hometown?
So I am in Toronto right now, basically right in Toronto. And then home is like a suburb about 45 minutes away.
So Canadian. Love it.
Yes.
Love it. Yeah, I've got my bike, like backwards on this side over there. Wait, let me move. There it is right there. Yeah. It's Stages SC3 is what that kind of bike is. So I love Schwinn's too. In fact, I got certified. The first bikes I ever rode were Schwinn bikes. Stages that came a little bit later in the game, as far as bikes are concerned, and indoor cycling bikes. So you have your prop behind you. I love it. Yeah. So good. Well, I want to thank you. This has been so much fun getting to know you. I'd love to do it again at some point. I know you're super busy. with school and recording, doing a 10-hour edit, right? And getting everything, or putting together. Again, you have to honor that. Those of you who ride with her, you gotta put that in her comments the next time. Thanks for taking the time, right? All of us who do this. And I really appreciate it. And I want to throw something out for you. And I know you're super busy, but I do know Kaylee Cohen. I know her husband, Jason, has one of the biggest, you're familiar with her channel, right?
Oh,
She
yeah.
has one of the biggest. And I don't know if you've been in touch with them or not, but Jason, her husband, they're trying to organize something to where several of us get together on a certain weekend and go do something together in person. And they did ask me to ask you if you would be interested.
Oh, wow, that's
So
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's a great
can
opportunity.
can I tell them that you're interested in it?
Yes, yes, for sure.
Awesome. Wouldn't that be so cool? Like
That
the
would be awesome.
4 or 5 of us, right? Get together. Jason said we could use their studio. We go live, all that stuff. Hopefully I'm not going to get in trouble hopefully it's not a secret that we're, no, he did invite us. They're trying to organize something. So I know at some point, who knows how soon it's going to be, but and I'll be in touch with you as far as like what that might look like and how we can get all of our schedules together. But it would be super cool for several of us to go over to Kaylee's studio and do something in person. So yeah. So,
Yeah, just as like a fangirl. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm off doing her rides on YouTube.
she's amazing. And I'll tell you what, they are who they project to be. In other words, they're super genuine, super genuine. What you see is what you get. And they could not be more kind and generous. And Jason in particular studies YouTube, the algorithm. He does so much, and he's taught me so much about what to do. With anywhere from thumbnails to algorithm to posting times to like kind of microphones and things like that. So, but we'll catch up too. I'd love to, if I could help you at all with microphones and things like that, let me know. So that would be honored to help you. So
Thank
cool.
you. I
All
appreciate
right.
that.
All right, Alina, thank you so much. Everybody who's listening, thank you so much for checking it out. This podcast, this is the Afterburn podcast. We'll see you on the next one.